There's a common platitude that you might hear in the motivational space when you are watching something about somebody who's decided to leave their day job to pursue their passions, and how wonderful it is and how amazing it is and how they love life and they're living it to the fullest. And it goes a little something like this. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's really true. Because you won't just be working a day in your life. You will be working every fucking day of your life. So this video is kind of to serve as a reminder to myself, but also a warning to everyone out there that when you are a freelancer, there's almost no such thing as a holiday. Usually when I go away for like a week for a vacation, like summer vacation or Thanksgiving time, I'll bring my stuff with me. I'll bring my laptop, I'll bring my Cintiq so I can, sit in a corner when I need to get some work done and then hang out with the family and then go back and work on more stuff late into the night because everyone is asleep and they're not bothering me and I can do my stuff. I'm used to bringing work with me when I travel. But for some reason, I thought that this one time would be an exception. So, story time. This past weekend, my brother celebrated his 40th birthday, which is kind of a big deal. It only happens once if you're lucky. And I decided that I would go out and visit him and hang out with him and his friends and see the sights of Seattle. I live in Maryland. He lives out in Washington, the other Washington, not the DC Washington, the other Washington. It was gonna be a real quick trip, so I didn't think that there would be much time for me to do anything except be stupid and lazy. So the plan was to leave Friday morning, fly out to Washington, come back Sunday evening on the red eye, and for the most part, hang out with my brother, play video games, eat pizza like we did in college, and just be super, super antisocial and lazy. We were gonna watch a wrestling show on Friday night, we were gonna go out karaoke on Saturday evening, and then the rest of the time just play Destiny. Thursday evening, I get an email from a client saying, hey, this thing that we've been bouncing back and forth and trying to get approval on, we finally got approval. We wanna see a black and white thing the next day. So this is a book cover that I'm working on for a project that I can't announce yet, but because it's the cover, my intention was to do it all painterly style. So once it got approved, I was gonna spend a lot of time getting the colors right and getting the paints all looking right. Digital paint, not real paint. So I didn't have to wait for the dry time. But I was gonna make it look all painterly and nice, which is a departure from what I normally do. It's normally like comic style, line art, and then color. This was gonna be everything all at once, but they wanted to see a black and white version. So I decided that I can sleep on the plane, and I spent all night Thursday night up painting this thing and getting it to a point that I thought it was good enough. I sent off an email right before the flight. I was like, here's my thing. I hope you see what direction I'm going. I'm not really gonna have much time to work on it this weekend because I'm going away to visit my brother in Seattle. But I fully intend on coming back Monday morning and spending the entire day to finish this off. Blah, 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 blah. Email off, run out to the airport, park in the economy lot, take the shuttle over to the fucking terminal, go through TSA pre. If you don't have TSA pre and you travel more than twice a year, you are doing yourself a real big disservice. Like, if you remember what it was like flying in the 80s, where you just show up at the gate, they scan you and you go right on through, you don't have to take off all of your clothes. That's what TSA pre is like. I'm old enough to remember flying in the 80s, and TSA pre is pretty much that. I highly recommend it at a lot of airports. If you have TSA pre and you book a flight for your group, everyone gets TSA pre, so it's great if you're traveling with a family. It's just super convenient, especially if you're kind of stressed, but you don't know you're about to be stressed, but you're kind of stressed, but you don't know you're about to be stressed, and you don't like flying. If you don't like flying, TSA pre is great because it removes one of those hassles. But anyway, this is not sponsored by TSA pre. Anyway, get on my flight. I feel like shit because I haven't slept, but I'm pretty good at sleeping on a plane, so I fall asleep. We land at SeaTac. We're stuck on the tarmac because we're so early that there's no room for us to park. So I pick out my phone like a good nerd just to check my email, and there's a message from the client that says, hey, this looks great. Maybe change this, maybe change that. Oh, and by the way, we need to see the full color version by Monday morning. And I start to freak the fuck out because I have not brought anything with me. First thing I was like, okay, shit. Maybe I can get an early flight home. Maybe I can leave, instead of leaving Sunday night, maybe I can leave Sunday morning. That'll give me the rest of Sunday to just work on this thing and not sleep once again. So I checked the flights because the way I booked my flight home was the cheapest way possible. So there's no insurance. There's no way I can change it without paying an arm and a leg. So I'm like, all right, well, let's see what a last minute flight from SeaTac to Dulles is. Blah, 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 blah. $700. It starts at $700. And I'm like, well, fuck. At that price, I might as well go and buy a Surface Pro and work on it here, because that's too much fucking money. So I start freaking out some more and I start sending texts to my friend who I'm working with on this project, my wife who's also freaking out with me, and my brother who's like, what the fuck is going on? And I start texting like, I'm really freaking out. I need to work on this thing, but I didn't bring anything with me, but it's due on Monday and I can't do it on Monday because I didn't bring anything with me, and blah, 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 blah. And as my brain is racing, I come up with a very dumb idea that sounds really stupid as I'm typing it, but I type it anyway because that's what you do when you freak out. I type to my brother, I say, hey Matt, I don't know if you guys have like intern workstations for scrubby little dudes who don't know anything, but maybe you could set me up with one of those and I don't have to see anything that the studio is actually working on, and maybe I can do stuff at the studio and then you can play Destiny while I'm working on stuff. And my brother writes back, no, I got you fam. I got this little razor blade, I'm installing Destiny on it. It might work. And I'm thinking, well, if it can play video games, it can run Photoshop. So I stop panicking for a little bit and I say, well, I do need a tablet of some sort. Matt says, that's fine. There's a Best Buy on the way home. We're gonna go to Best Buy. We're gonna get you a tablet. We're gonna get you set up. I text my wife. I say, hey, I'm gonna need you to move a file for me. And she's like, that's great. And here's another pro tip. Pro tip 1, TSA pre, like only if you travel. Pro tip 2, name your files. Name your files. Name your files as if you have to pass this on to someone else. Fortunately, I got into this habit early. My first job out of college, I didn't know what I was doing when it came to file management or anything like that. I would just name stuff willy-nilly. But when you get into a studio space and you're working with a whole bunch of other people, you gotta name your file something. Name your files. Make it something obvious like cover 1 or project 2 or name the project. Name your layers. Just pretend, even if you are working by yourself, pretend you are working with a whole slew of people, because you never know when you're gonna need your wife, who doesn't do digital art, to go through your laptop, find the file, and stick it on your Dropbox so you can work remotely. All right, plane finally parks, we deboard, I get out because all I have is my backpack, so I don't need to go to baggage claim or anything like that. Brother picks me up, we go to Best Buy. We're nerds, so of course we don't ask anybody where these things are. We look around, we can't find them. I find some dude who looks official. He's got the collared shirt, he's got the clipboard, he's got the name tag, and I'm like, hey bud, do you guys have Wacom tablets, like drawing tablets? And he's like, well, we have computers that do that, but, and then I see that he is the Lenovo rep. So he's there to sell Lenovo products. He's not the actual Best Buy dude. And he's like, yeah, you might want to ask somebody in the blue shirt. All the blue shirts are helping someone else. So we go around for another 20 minutes. We finally find the tablets, and there's a whole section for Wacom just like buried in the back, and they're down here. Normally when you want to sell something, you put it at eye level so people can see it. No. They don't want nobody to buy these tablets for some fucking reason. So they're buried down here on these lower shelves. Finally find one. I pick up the medium Intuos, so now I have this and I can do a review of that after using it for like 8 hours. We go back to my brother's condo, and I sit down and try to set stuff up on this little razor blade that has a big cracked screen. And I'm like, I do not give a shit. If it runs Destiny, it can run Photoshop, and if it runs Photoshop, we are good to go. First things first, I plug in the tablet to see if I can install the drivers. I can't install the drivers. For some reason, this computer doesn't like the drivers. I'm like, all right, well, maybe we'll do this backwards. Maybe we'll install Photoshop first. Now, tip number 3, even though I shit on the Adobe Creative Cloud a whole lot, The subscription service actually saved my ass this weekend because when you subscribe to the Creative Cloud, you get to install your programs wherever the fuck you want, on whatever computer you fucking want. If it's compatible, if you can install earlier versions of the software, but you can install on whatever you want. You might have to unauthorize one of your other machines, because I think you can only have 2 machines authorized to run your software at the same time, but whatever. I can install Photoshop without having to re-buy Photoshop or crack Photoshop and do all that kind of stuff. So thank you, motherfucking thank you, Creative Cloud, for making my life easier when I'm being stupid. So we kick this laptop around for a couple minutes and it becomes obvious why my brother got this stupid thing for free. It does not want to install anything. It doesn't install Destiny. It doesn't install Photoshop. It doesn't install the drivers for the Wacom. And my heart sinks and I'm like, well, fuck. I don't know what to do now. And my brother looks around and he breaks out his phone. He's like, all right, we got a keyboard and a mouse coming in about 3 hours. And I'm like, holy shit. And he's like, yeah, that thing over there in the corner that's under all this other shit, that's a tower. We're gonna set this tower up. We're gonna get you your mouse. We're gonna get you your keyboard. We're gonna set up the tablet. We're gonna plug it into a monitor and you're gonna be good to go. And I'm like, that's great. Phew, huge weight off my back. I sit down, I eat my lunch, I watch my brother run some bounties on Destiny because the reset got fucked up. So the reset is Sunday instead of Tuesday. So he's going through all of his powerful engrams now so that when the Sunday update happens, he can do it all over again and hopefully hit 700. 3 hours later, on the dot, Bezos Senpai notices me and brings the keyboard and the mouse. I plug all that shit in. The tower's plugged into the monitor. I plug in the tablet. It works. The drivers work. I download Photoshop. Photoshop is running like it should. I call Audrey. I say, Audrey, can you find the file? She's like, I found the file. I've dumped it on your Dropbox. And I'm like, oh my God, everything is coming up Millhouse. Download the file, fire up Photoshop, get painting. And everything works. Everything works. Everything works. Everything works. I have an hour to just start getting things sorted. And then it's time to go to DeFi Wrestling. So everything worked out, and it's only because my brother works at Bungie, works in gaming, and has access to all this hardware. If my brother didn't work in video games, I would have been fucked, like real bad. I guess I could have gone and picked up a Surface Pro, so I guess I wouldn't have been fucked in terms of getting the project done. I would have been fucked wallet-wise. I've heard good things about the Surface and running Photoshop and all that kind of good stuff. But it's just fortunate that my brother hoards technology. Like, sometimes the studio will sell stuff, or people at the studio will be getting rid of gear on the cheap because they're upgrading stuff, and he'll be like, hey, I picked this up. So thank you, Matt, for saving my fucking ass this entire weekend. And for also taking me to an awesome wrestling show, and for hanging out with your friends and going drinking karaoke the next night. It was a lot of fun. So, the 3 big takeaways. TSA Pre, name your files something real, and Adobe Creative Cloud will save your bacon when you're stupid like me and forget all of your gear at home. Forget and leave all of your gear at home. This was a great reminder to myself that I am never not working. One of the reasons I don't necessarily like traveling with my gear is that it's heavy. Like the Cintiq Companion 2 is heavier than my laptop, which is a old MacBook Pro. And there's a whole lot of cords that go with it, like the power cord, the connector cord, and all these other cables. So like it takes up a lot of room wherever I go, my destination. Like I need to take up like half of a dining room table in order to get set and do my stuff. So I don't like traveling with my gear. I like it when I need it, and I like it when it's there because I can do my work, but I don't like traveling with it because it's heavy. I might kick this around a little bit more to see if this could be part of a travel rig. I do prefer drawing on a screen, but you know, it's not necessary. So I was looking forward to a weekend where I didn't have to worry about lugging my gear with me and lugging it back and forth and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. So I think the solution is to figure out a mobile solution for my stuff. Maybe an iPad Pro could be in the future, because apparently that's powerful enough to run a whole bunch of different software, especially when Photoshop comes out for it. I might have to take a serious look at the iPad Pro. If you're interested in seeing what it was I was working on, I have a Patreon where I updated all of my followers to this ordeal in real time, so they got to witness all of this freak out as it was happening. And if you have any tales of freelance woes when you're traveling, please let me know in the comments. I'm always interested in hearing how people deal with always working. So thanks for tuning in. And I hope you enjoyed the interview with Monica last week. It was a lot of fun to shoot. It was a lot of fun to put together. I'm looking for other friends who are willing to let me stick a camera in their face to do some more. So hopefully I'll get some more of these interviews out in the future, because it's always fun to highlight my friends who are doing amazing stuff. It's always a great motivator for me to get off my ass and stop complaining about stuff and just do the work. And hopefully it's inspirational for some of you who are looking for that extra kick in the ass. You need some extra motivation. All right, that's gonna do it for this time. Please subscribe and share with your friends and all that kind of stuff, and name your files. Always name your files.